Caleb Miligan, William Ash, made a discovery about Joe Tate, Ned Porteous, in the latest episode of Emmerdale, and relished in taking advantage. Yesterday, Joe found Jimmy King, Nick Miles, in the pub chatting about the situation involving Carl and Clemmy. After Clemmy sent an indecent image to Carl, the young lad was interviewed by the police. For Jimmy and Nicola King, Nicola Wheeler, they struggled with the fact Carl had to get questioned by a police officer, and thought the fright of being in the interview environment was enough to confirm he had learned his lesson. At Home Farm, Dawn Taylor, Olivia Bromley, has struggled to know what to do next with Clemmy, as she is refusing to go back to school. Joe suggested sending her to a posh private school, but Clemmy's dad Billy Fletcher, Jay Consul, believed that would do more harm than good. Dawn found out on Monday that the police weren't taking the investigation with Carl any further. According to Joe, this wasn't good enough. In the pub, he found Jimmy talking to Nicola and Liam Kavanagh, Johnny McPherson, and listened with disgust as Jimmy said that Carl was a victim in this situation, just like Clemmy. Joe confronted Jimmy, threatening him with a reminder that his family believes justice can come in many forms. And yes, that was a case of famous last words. In the latest episode, Joe was seen driving his Porsche along a country road. Dawn then called him, and he chose to briefly distract himself from driving to try and cut the call. In the split second he placed his eyes back on the road, Joe realized with horror that someone was standing in his way. He attempted to swerve, but ended up hitting the person. As he got out of his car, Joe discovered that he had knocked Jimmy down. Recalling his last words with the resident, Joe knew that this didn't look good. He headed back to his car, but then heard Caleb shouting. He had seen the entire thing. As Jimmy was rushed to hospital, Joe headed to the depot to try and talk to Caleb about his situation. He explained that the matter could spiral for him if Nicola tells the police about his argument with Jimmy in the pub. Put simply, it looks awful on Joe's part, and even though he didn't explicitly say it, he really needed his uncle's help. It was in this moment Caleb smirked as he realized he had complete control of the matter. A friendly reminder that Joe Tate stole Caleb's kidney earlier this year, but he never faced the consequences for it because Joe also found out about Anthony Fox, and they then agreed to both keep quiet. Joe tried to threaten Caleb with this information, but he still managed to get the upper hand. Caleb explained to his nephew that if he told the police about Anthony, he'd take great pleasure in telling them that the hit on Jimmy happened deliberately. It was simple. The police are visiting the depot at midday tomorrow, and Caleb told Joe that he's got until then to decide how much his freedom is worth. But if Joe can't come up with an answer that satisfies Caleb, will he report him? Is Joe going to leave the village in the back of a police car?